Hey mortals, how's it going? Welcome back to Mondays in the Mortal Realms here on a Tuesday, which is not Monday.
What?
So if you're wondering if it's Monday, it is not. Yesterday was Monday, and the day before Monday was Sunday, and the day before that was Saturday, and before that was Friday. That's when we three here left to go down to Southern California. A nice drive, a beautiful drive, down the, not coast, but the rather disgusting inner part of the state.
It's okay.
And
it has Kettleman City.
yeah, we did that so we could play an Old Town Throwdown, which is a series of events run in Southern California by Tom Gareth, a great event organizer.
Tom.
We'll talk about Tom a little bit later more. And we played in the Old Town Throwdowns teams. This was my second time playing at Old Town Throwdown teams. But for everybody else, it was your first time, including Megan.
We popped the cherry.
Who you guys have seen here on Mondays in the Mortal Realms before. And Brett, who has not been on the show before, but you've seen on other Hobby Collab shows. So here we are, and we're going to talk.
Who else did we go with?
We also went with, actually, importantly, our other teammates.
In chat.
Yeah, we will. I have a picture will pop up here shortly. We have Vino, who's actually, you see him here. He's one of our moderators in chat. You probably have also seen him on Discord. And then our friend Andrew, who is local to us and is just starting to get into.
He's just a local normal guy.
Yeah,
he's not part of our cast.
He's just starting to get into Sigmar. So that was really exciting. Okay, let's start before we get to Old Town Throwdown, which is what we all want to see. Let's start real quick with a little bit of
to deal with.
A little bit of Warcom. Yeah.
Oh, Warcom.
Some work to do.
So
who's on Warcom today?
Yeah, you're famous.
Amsterdam point of view.
Yeah.
You should have told them about the hobby
Has nothing
collab.
to do with AoS.
Yeah. Brett is randomly on a picture.
Famous.
Yeah. But maybe we'll pull it up here in a second. Okay. So we all kind of feel like we know that Flesh Eater Courts are coming, and we also kind of feel like we know they're getting a big release.
Hooray.
Yeah. Here is the Abhorrent Gore Warden.
What a cool model.
He is a cool model. A little bit of the background here is super cool. It's important to understand, if you are not super familiar with Age of Sigmar, that this faction, the Flesh Eater Courts, believes themselves to be noble, chivalrous knights, and just a society of
He looks noble.
Yeah.
I love this trope. This is such a cool idea, and a couple sort of IPs have played around with it a little bit, and it's such a neat idea. I love it. You can either be the good guy or the bad guy if you play Flesh Eater Court.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now one thing I love about this model is that the keys.
He's got the key to my heart.
The keys, yeah, the keys are purely symbolic. They do absolutely nothing.
It's not like his melee profile is called.
I don't know.
Ring.
Key to my heart.
Yeah, he's been given these keys. I just love that they're so delusional that they actually play make believe with each other even. Yeah. So he's passed these keys by some sort of abhorrent archregent, they're called, which are like the kings.
Yeah.
He's been passed down those keys. Apparently they, I guess, both know that these keys do nothing, but they're really important. Symbolically.
Wait,
symbols are important in our society.
What's the symbol?
That he has the keys to the kingdom.
Nobody can come in unless they have the key.
The mayor gave him
the
keys.
This is like a key to the city, basically.
To the Shyish or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
So if you don't, he has the keys. So if you're coming in to the kingdom, and obviously you don't have the keys because he's got them.
Yeah.
So you don't belong there.
They have alluded to the fact that more models, more releases are to come. For this army, which we can honestly say we're probably not that surprised by.
I like that he comes with a little friend too.
Yeah, this
little
guy.
tied up friend.
Yeah. This is a new thing that GW is doing. All the models have this little
other
a baby model inside of them. You know, funny aside.
Inside every model.
I was
is a baby model.
excited when I was frantically painting up my salon before the event. I discovered a fourth tiny lizard. Hidden somewhere inside the log.
Right?
Yeah. I did not realize that was there until the very end of the painting process, and I was like, oh my god, I thought I was done. I get to paint a fourth tiny lizard.
Yeah. I love these little
this is a new thing that GW
delights.
is doing, and it's amazing.
They give us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Brett, real quick, do you see which one of these you were in?
It's the one about the competitive event. The war championships of
memorized, Zach?
championships of Warhammer.
This was an article.
Bestie.
This was an article that was released today.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
here. Okay. Yeah, so we'll show this real quick because it's pretty funny.
It's a picture from last year's Grand Narrative.
That's super cool.
And I just like am photobombing randomly like off to the side.
Wait, were you not invited to be part of this picture? And you
no, I was in that picture, but like randomly like there was somebody taking a picture of the person taking the selfie, and so I was like, yeah, you can see off there on the right.
He's on the right side.
He's like, let me just get in here.
I'm wearing the exact same clothes.
Almost the same. Yeah, I was gonna say almost the same shirt.
Wearing my engineer uniform
and khakis.
Yeah, exactly the same clothes. Oh well,
super great. Now, speaking of, what we want to do is kind of go through each of whenever we go to an event. I always like to get pictures of myself with my opponent, and we hold our MVPs up. And the reason I like to do that, of course, is because then it's nice to. I think it's cool. Then maybe that person, maybe not. Maybe that person will watch and enjoy seeing us say nice things about them.
Yeah,
which we of course we would do.
Things.
I know all 5 of my opponents are super awesome, super nice. I genuinely mean that. If I had a horrible opponent, I would still say that all 5 of my opponents are super nice. But this time I actually really mean it.
Really mean
it. And to be honest with you, I've had in all the competitive Sigmar events I've done in the past 2 years, I don't even know if I've had 2 or 1. I don't even know that I've had one game with one person that's like, that person wasn't
If you've
super
ever
nice.
played a game against Zach, you might be the one person that he's talking about.
I'm not sure.
My opponents were super nicer and super more awesome than even your opponents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about you?
I don't even want to tell you.
Debatable.
You guys got completely screwed in your games because my opponents were the nicest.
Oh.
Debatable.
Superlative.
Here is Brett's list. Brett.
What?
Give us a lowdown of your list.
I took Seraphon. I made this decision to build a Seraphon army in April, long before I knew about a thing called Old Town Throwdown, and it just so happened that this army sort of came together around about the time that you guys were looking for a teammate. So I have 40 Saurus Warriors, led by an Old Blood on Carnosaur, and Slann, and an Astrolith Bear, and a Skink Priest on foot. So these are sort of my characters and sort of my battle line. I have 10 skinks to do objectives. I have 5 hunters of Huanchi who are also skinks, also to do objectives. And then I had 2 spawn of Chotek, which are the little shooty salamander artilleries.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, it's not a lot. The things that are sort of the chaff are also the things that do the work. Yeah. So there's no like real like, I guess you kind of ran into this in some of our practice games. If you kill my skinks, I don't really have anything to do objectives with.
Yep.
But the Saurus can also sort of do objectives, so it's kind of fine.
Yeah.
The army is very forgiving. If I mess up, like, and you charge me, I'm like, cool, like, I'm in combat
I'll
now.
lose like 3 Saurus Warriors.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like, it's not a finesse army. It's like a cool, I just like buff all my dudes and push them across the table.
Yeah.
There are other sub-factions in the game that play that way. This one just happens to be the one that I chose, Dinosaurs.
The Anvil. Yeah.
Yeah.
The major Anvil.
The Saurus are fun because they take the data sheet is like very middling, but they take buffs really well. So like once you stack Hoarfrost and Empowered Celestite and Mystic Shield on a unit of 20 Saurus Warriors and you put them on an objective, they have a 1-up save with the all-out defense, and they, hit on 2s, wound on 2s, rend 3. It's like, oh wow, cool. I guess they can't do all of those things. They can do some combination of those things.
Right. Well, almost all of them.
Hit on 3s, wound on 2s, rend 3. And it's amazing. And it's like the sort of castle starts to crumble at some point once the buffing pieces get chipped away at. But it was fun. I got to do my thing in every game. I got to, push my big blocks of dudes forward and have them not die. The Skink Priest also had Merciless Blizzard, which it was I got to do that a couple times. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Those are some of my highlights. It was a good list. It was good for me, sort of being new to the game, and I had fun with it.
Now, if you're not quite familiar with how a teams event works, There are 5 people on our team, 3 of us, and again, our friend Andrew and Vino here in chat. And essentially what happens is that each time we go to play, we sat down with the team captain. So for our team, that was me, and I would sit down with the other team captain. And we would sort of do this pairing game, so to speak, which only really allowed each team, I kind of feel like, to get maybe 1 or 2, maybe 2 of what they really wanted.
Yeah.
It almost seems like neither team often got what anyone wanted, which I think is good. It's sort of by design.
Yeah.
So between the 10 people, they kind of get paired up almost randomly. You can kind of keep people away from people like once or twice, but that's about it.
Yeah, you don't really have much choice. You can't really specifically put one person into someone else, but you can sort of keep somebody away from somebody else.
That's about it. And really you can only keep about 2 people away from somebody else, kind of. So you are not really guaranteed good matchups at all. So that is how we started. And round 1 we got paired up against one of there were 2 teams of the Corsairs. And we got paired up against one of the teams.
Yep.
Right.
A lot of really strong
they're pretty
players.
good.
Yeah, they're pretty good players.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar, they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're like
very strong players.
They're pretty good.
Your eyes get big and you get starstruck when you see the Corsairs. Yeah.
Quick little picture of Brett's army here.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like, all arrayed in its battle formation.
Yeah, and your first game was against Alex. Yeah.
Corsairs, speaking of. Super cool dude. I walked up to the table. This was the game 1 of my first ever AoS event at a teams tournament, playing against like one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, I just laid it all out. I was like, hey man, I'm new at this. I played like 7 games of AoS only with this army. I've only played against Zach and Beg and like our friend Bryce and our friend Graham. Like I played against 4 armies in this game. I've never played against Khorne. I don't know what your army does. I'm like, I want to play a good game and I want you to like have a good time and me to have a good time, but I also like have no idea what your army does. And I don't also want you to spend like 45 minutes teaching me how your army works before we play. So like, let's just do it. It'll be cool. And yeah, he did a great job of sort of not letting me get gotcha'd, but also like, and he was super chill and nice. But I could also sort of, by the time round 3 rolled around, I could sort of like, I could tell that he was he knew how this game was going to go. And but he also let me play the game and do some cool stuff. Like turn 1, he charged his Bloodthirster and a unit of Bloodletters into my army and they all died. Like I killed his Bloodthirster on bottom of 1, which was rad. Like I was so jazzed.
That is cool.
And I in hindsight, I realized he knew that he was like gonna be fine. Like if
he just letting you have it.
He was like I'm gonna get a blood tide point from letting you kill my Bloodthirster. And then he brought it back. By the end of the game, it was very clear he was gonna win. But I had so much fun. It was a really good time. He made it fun. Like he made the rest of the event. He set the tone, right? Like turn 1, he was that bandolier around his neck was all shots. He was
they all did this.
You want a shot?
So cool.
Yeah, and so we took a shot turn 1, and then played the game, and so he set the tone really well. Alex was a great guy, really fun opponent, really skilled. I learned a lot playing against him.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the cool stuff that happens, unique stuff that happens here. With Old Town Throwdown Teams, why he's dressed like this, why Brett's dressed like that, and why there's wanted posters.
Yep.
Okay, Brett, your second opponent.
Round 2, this is Matt. Our round 2 opponent, our round 2 game was against the Kens. So this was Matt was dressed as Disco Ken. He played Stormcast. Matt was probably my favorite opponent of the event. Even cooler than Alex. Sorry, Alex.
Oh wow.
Alex is Matt. We deployed. We played out half of. So then Matt was like, "I'm gonna take turn 1," and he proceeded to alpha strike all of my characters with like long range mortal wound bombs. He had a Stormcast list that could do 5d3 mortal wounds in a 6-inch aura, and I had just like stupidly castled all of my little like 5-6 wound characters next to each other, all my salamanders. In the same sort of 12-inch diameter bubble, and he was just he had gotten through like 4 of these nukes, and they were all dead. And I was like, wow, I did not, like, he told me that this was going to happen before deployment, and then I deployed in the way, and then I just like let him do it. And he was like, hey man, do you want to redeploy? And then we can just go back. It's like 15 minutes we lost here. And I was like, yes, I want to do that. And so we re-racked.
That's sweet of him.
I redeployed my army. And then he was like, okay, now you can have first turn, because like I didn't just give him the like kill my army option.
Yeah.
And we actually had a real game. He still won.
Yeah, that's how much confidence
it was
he had.
great.
Yeah, he's a super strong player.
But it was like
you can even double turn.
Yeah, it was fun, and he was, like the whole time he was like, yeah, man, like I don't want this to be over in a half hour. Like I want us to actually play a good game, and we did, and it was a great game, and it actually came down to some like really clutch moments right at the end. He still like he was the better player. He still won, and it was fun, but like. The fact that he like just did that thing was great. I loved it.
To be fair, kind of wildly.
Tom's calling me a noob.
Yeah, thanks.
That's for you,
thanks, Tom, for that. Of course, as always. We should be thanking
Captain Obvious. Yes,
yeah,
I was.
Thank you.
I'm a noob.
Yeah, we sort of weirdly got paired. The Corsairs ended up coming in third, right, or second.
I don't remember.
And this team, one of these SoCal United teams that Matt Nguyen is in, ended up coming third, and
they won the event last year,
and they won the
they're pretty good.
Yeah,
they're
so somehow
good.
Tom's saying like, oh,
Tom.
Zach's description of the pairing process makes me realize why they finished where they did, which we'll get to. But I'm realizing that we also played number 2 and number 3 teams somehow right away in our first 2 rounds.
If your definition of noob is that I have less experience than the people who won the event last year, yes,
Tom.
Yes, that is true.
Oh my gosh! So
that was round 2.
That was round 2.
Awesome game. Another awesome game.
So then,
wait a minute.
We'll get back to that one. So then after this, we got pushed down to pretty much a bottom table.
We were in the fun room
We
where
were
all
in
the
the fun
losers
room.
were. It
Yes.
was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
She means people losing the game, of course, not losers broadly speaking.
Well, I
losing
was
the
including myself, to be fair.
By-
that makes it okay then.
Yeah, it's fine.
So our round 1 we went a 1-4. Zach, you're the only one to win.
Yeah.
Round 2 we went what?
0-5.
0-5.
Yeah.
We all lost round 2.
And then here's where you actually played yourself.
At the end of round 2, we were 1-9. We had won 1 game out of 10.
Bizarro, Brett.
And so we go into round 3 playing against the Ringer team. These were generous volunteers who gave up their time to sort of come together as a disparate band
And always play the last team.
form a team, and we were best friends immediately.
Yeah.
So Sam here played Gargants. I never played against Gargants. This is a common theme. I'd not played against Stormcast. I'd not played against Khorne. I'd not played against Gargants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this was cool. You had King Broad and 3 other giant, really big monsters. You had 4 models on the table. And I charged him turn 1. He put his King Broad right in the middle. King Broad's the only Gargant that has a 5-up ward. And turn 1, I buffed up a unit 20saurus with all the buffs that I mentioned. They had all the things. And I Vengeful Defended them 10 inches, or 5 inches, moved them another 5, auto-ran them 6, gave them run and charge, and they charged in and did 16 wounds to Broad. And I was like, heck yeah. I was like,
he's got 40.
This is amazing. I was like, I just did 16 wounds to a Gargant with a battle line unit. I was so excited. And they got a 2-up save, 1-up save. They're so good. They're good. They're good. They're in there with all the buffs. And he was like, cool, so I'm not even bracketed. I had 45 wounds and you did 16 to me. I'm not even bracketed.
Man.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Oh.
And then there were 2 other Gargants that were just like staring me down, ready to charge in. So that unit died. And then the rest of the game was really fun. It was really good. Like I was able to like do some things. I eventually won it, but like, eventually, but yeah, like turn 3, there were still like 4 Gargants on the table. It wasn't until
I
the
was
bottom
looking
of,
over and saw 4 Gargants on turn 3. I was like, oh, he's in trouble.
It wasn't until the bottom of 3 that I killed the first Gargant, and by the end of the game, I had him down to 1 left on the table. But like, it was not a foregone conclusion. But it was a really good game. We just fought in the center of the table all the time, and like it was just this overwhelming force versus immovable object thing that I just kept feeding things into the broad grinder, and eventually I came out on top, which was not a foregone conclusion, but a lot of fun.
Next day,
Day 2. This was round 4 against the Blue
I have
Ranger.
not seen this picture.
So day 2, I had finally got my first win. This game was against Maxwell and his Deepkin. So he had a game. He had an army that consisted of the King and all Eels plus a Celestin Prime.
Yep.
Very killy. I'd had many conversations with our teammate Vino in the car because they really wanted me to play against Maxwell because they're like, look, Eels do D3 damage and they're really kind of flimsy on the hit back. Like all you got to do is D3 damage is great into Colossaurus. They'll be -1 damage. You can just tank it all and they'll just die on the return slaps. That's not how it went. He did a bazillion mortal wounds to me, and then he did a bazillion damage, D3 damage attacks that all got reduced to 1, but there were a bazillion of them. Mm-hmm. And I also had.
Can you imagine that those were 2 damage, like on one of our armies?
That's right. But he did some really smart plays. I because of the terrain, I had to separate my 2 source blocks by a distance, and I could only put the buffs on one of them, and he has 14-inch move and can run and charge and yada yada. And so he was able to just like fight me where I had not pre-buffed my guys.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have all the buffs in the right spots all at the same time. And so by just sort of clever play, he was able to win. Highlight for me, I did get Merciless Blizzard off on the King.
Yeah.
And died. My Skink Priest died during the sort of mortal wounds back. From Merciless Blizzard, and it was two characters just staring each other down, nuking each other off the board. It was great, fun game.
Maxwell's a great player. He's a super funny guy.
Yeah, great attitude. So okay. So round 5, I'd now won one. I was 1-4 at this point, 1-4 at this point. And we played. I don't remember the theme. This is the Brute Squad, right?
Yeah.
They were one of the Big Lebowskis.
On day one.
I see.
Yeah. When we played them, they had not. They
had taken their costumes off.
Yeah. All right. They had given up.
So this was Jeremy. He was playing Slaves to Darkness. He had an all cavalry army. Everyone had Mark of Nurgle. He had a big unit of knights with 10 knights that had the banner of Nurgle, so they were also -1 rend. And then. It was, and they had 2 units of what's the Varangard? Is that what they're called?
Varangard, yep, yeah, the big scary knights. Yeah,
5 wounds each, 5 models. They hit a lot harder, but there's fewer of them. Yeah, and he had played Coalesce Seraphon the game before, and so
super fun for him.
So he was really parried. He did not want that to happen, and so he charged me in my deployment zone turn 1. Yeah, it was. We just fought all game in my deployment zone. I had enough I had enough skinks running around doing objectives to score battle tactics. And eventually, by 5 turns in, I'd killed all his knights and had Saurus left over, which meant that I won it, which was awesome. But yeah, Jeremy was super fun. I did not get a picture with Jeremy, unfortunately.
Oh boy!
By the end of game 5, we were exhausted, and Tom was yelling at us to go into the room to be for the award ceremony. So I didn't get a picture with Jeremy, but awesome guy, super fun opponent, and. We had a slog. It was anyway. Yeah, like all the games were great. All of my opponents were great, and I learned so much. I didn't play against an army I'd played against before. It was all new stuff for me, and so kudos to you guys for sort of trying to doing your best to give me a little bit of a taste of what I was going to go up against and like how I could maybe combat their one weird thing. But it was a blast. Super fun.
Now, before we move on and Meg chats a little bit about Old Town Throwdown Teams, right? So here we are. This is us. We were actually, our theme was that we were all classic cocktails. From left to right, there's me. I was a sidecar, so I had a little motorcycle helmet. Meg was a jungle bird, which is a really good...
It's a good tiki drink. Not too sweet.
One of the few good tiki drinks, yeah. There is Vino, who's a zombie. This was confusing to some people who thought that... we called this. We were like, this is going to be confusing.
People are going to be confused.
He's playing Soul Blight because he's a zombie. But I was like, too bad.
Yeah,
I want to be Jungle Bird.
There then is Brett. Brett was...
I was a Dark and Stormy.
He was a Dark and Stormy.
So people thought I was a pirate. But the reality, and I'm very very sensitive about this. I was really just a sea captain.
Yeah.
On an old-timey
Legitimate
boat
business.
with a legitimate business distributing alcoholic beverages to the denizens of the old world.
And Andrew there in orange shirt with a screwdriver.
Orange shirt.
Through his head was a screwdriver.
It was a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah. In case that was confusing.
Here we are in the car ride.
Yeah.
Real fun.
I was in the back actually taking footage of these two.
This is a little shot of the pairing process with the Corsairs. There's me in the foreground and Ben. I have their wanted posters that we used, and we gave them our recipe cards. And so Ben and I are doing the pairing here. That's what you're looking at. This is Vino playing his first round opponent, Cody, Flesh Eater Courts player, super cool guy. Played him last year in teams. Really strong player. Here we've got Vino and Meg hanging out. This is late in the second day.
Yeah, I was tired. Was this at the very, very end? It looks like it was.
Yeah.
Because I see Bloodthirsters on that end. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, I was just exhausted.
Here's Ben, who was Meg's first round opponent, playing Gavin G, who is often ranked the #1 Sigmar player in the world. And I was saying this shirtless picture of Gavin kind of shows the general vibe of competitive Sigmar.
Yeah, this is not an uncommon sight.
Here's Meg playing Shane. We'll get to that game too. That seemed like a fun game. And then this is me playing Aaron.
Who is Beach Ken?
Yeah.
Right?
Beach Ken, yeah. This is a very great game, actually.
He was one of the Kens.
Yeah, here's Andrew. We went to downtown Disney because apparently every time we go to an Old Town Throwdown event, we do that now.
It's right there.
It's right there, and it's a cool place to go. Good food. The food tastes good, and it's authentic. And then here we are hanging out at Airbnb. So, it was a fun weekend. For sure. Meg, are you ready to chat?
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready to chat.
Ready.
Okay.
All right. Meg's experience coming up.
So
stay tuned.
Or are we doing list first?
Yeah, we're gonna look at your list here.
Because I need to talk about my list and the effect it had on my weekend.
Yeah, Nick Garcia, thank you so much. Old Town Throwdown events are also big drinking events, so the theme was definitely on par to the event. Obviously, yeah, that was
part of what inspired our theme. Mm-hmm.
That was in our mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my list centered around Nagash because I really, really wanted to take Nagash. He was a big painting project for me last year, and I was like, I am never going to get to play with this unless I just play with it. So he was definitely the centerpiece, and everything I built around it was just other stuff I liked. Liberty Fires actually shared apparently a well-performing list that was similar to this. In our Discord, and I was like, okay, cool. This is a Nagash list. It did well at some tournament, and I have most of these things, but I'll just swap a few things out. So, because I know what I'm doing. But yeah, I kept my, let's see, the spell portal. That was in that original list. I kept that because that was how I was able to Hand of Dust some people.
Yeah.
Which is the best part of Nagash, is Hand of Dust. And then I wanted to go back to Virkos because that was what I was most familiar with. So I took some wolves and called it a day. I mean, that's then my Vargskir. That was my other model that I wanted. And Vargskirs aren't that great. They're good at getting little guys.
They're kind of okay. It's not awful.
In this list, it's not very good. Yeah. I would send him out on a mission and he would just get sniped or murdered or something really fast. And yeah, I picked a bizarre, what's it called? Grand strategy that I had been used to playing, and I just didn't think beyond that to change it. So I kept my Danse Macabre when I should have taken the one that gives me points for regenerating because I died very quickly. That happened all the time. Yeah, that would have been the right move.
Sounds like it. Okay,
but that's okay.
How did your games go? You started off getting to play Ben, who was actually, let me go forward one. There we go. Who's actually the team captain of the Corsairs. How did this go?
So I want to preface with everybody I played was very sweet to me, very patient, and was like, "Are you okay? Are you having a good time?" Because I'm having a good time, but I feel bad saying that because I'm wiping the floor with you.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So yes, I had to tell everybody I knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this was a bad list.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're great.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. I literally had a great time, like
Yeah.
with each game.
Yeah.
So that was not a problem. So I hope everybody got that clear because I did have a good time, even though I was a big loser. Ben, I like Ben. I met him at the singles tournament.
Back in August. Yeah.
Back in the summer. And so it was cool to get to play him, although it was Soul Blight versus Soul Blight. And I was like, oh God, that's what this feels like. He had like an all zombie list. And I was like, that's the list I want.
Coffin flop list.
Yeah, I want a ton of zombies now because they're just so like cool looking, flooding the board.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. My first battle tactic was magical dominance. I was like, this is my only chance to really get it, so I'm gonna go for it, and immediately failed. Immediately.
Oh, no.
I tried to pull out an endless spell, and he blocked it, and then I totally forgot because we got to the end of the game, and I was like, didn't I have 2 more points? Because I think it ended 8-28,
Oh.
and I. Like,
Wow.
didn't I get 2 points? Yeah, it was bad. I'm not good at this. And I was like, didn't I get those? And he's like, no, because you're endless spell. And I was like, oh, right. I
Oh, you're
forgot
right.
about that. Ben was like so patient with me. And I was like, he's probably just being extra nice because he knows that I'm not a threat at all. Like, he does not have to worry about this girl. But I had a good time. Ben, don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy.
I enjoyed being stomped by you. And it was cool to actually play Soul Blight. Which
See what it's like,
I
yeah.
never want to do again.
He's a super cool guy, and also a super cool guy. I played both of... No, actually I haven't played Ben yet. I have played Shane. He's also a super cool guy. How's this game?
This was round 2.
Round 2.
Okay.
Also an insanely good player.
Shane,
Yeah.
Shane's pretty awesome. Shane was crackhead Ken.
Not
Not
a real Ken,
no,
but
they
still,
got creative.
They
I
got creative.
and I thought like, oh, this goes really well with his army because they're Skaven, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Skaven
they're all
are like
crackheads.
gross and like nasty.
Skaven are
They're hopped up
literally
on...
crackheads.
yeah, exactly.
on
Yeah,
green
they're on
rocks.
drugs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when Zach was doing the matchup, I was like, please, can I have Skaven? I want to play Skaven. Because it's like the only army I knew I was like familiar with. So I was like, I kind of have a sense of what to worry about.
Yeah, I thought this could have been a good matchup for you, actually.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this game I think went 11-28.
Okay.
Oh, we're
I got
moving in
a
the right
little better.
direction.
Yeah.
But I was like, I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
fine. Like, I know I'm going to lose. No big deal. Highlight of this game.
Yeah, this is exciting.
This was so cool.
Yeah.
I got to Pocket Sand. I got to Hand of Dust his Screaming Bell.
Yeah, which is a big deal,
And
actually.
it was so fun because
Yeah.
the whole room lit up. They're like, somebody's getting Hand of Dusted. Ah! And everyone like turns and looks and I'm just like sitting there like so excited and I put my hands out and he picks the wrong one. I was like, yes!
Yeah, so...
I totally...
If you're unfamiliar...
Yeah, if you're unfamiliar,
Yes,
how does this
yes.
work?
Okay.
Because
So-
it could just be a 4-up die roll, but that wouldn't be fun.
No, that's not fun
That's
at
not
all.
fun.
This is why I love... I don't care if the spell goes through or not.
Yeah.
I just love doing it. Because
Yeah.
it's so freaking like tense. Everybody's
is.
like, oh my god, this is my fault if I pick the wrong
Everybody's
hand, right?
really stressed.
You put your dice in one of your hands, one dice in one of your hands, and then let the opponent pick which hand. And if it doesn't have the dice, they lose their model.
It's
like,
just sling.
it doesn't
Just pick
matter
one
like
model
how
and
big
it's
it
just
is.
dead.
No
And it has
wards, nothing.
And it has a 3-inch range. So either
So that's
Nagash
what
has to
I'm-
be like
yeah.
literally right next to the thing, which but
Never
no, in
happens.
your list you've got this clever way of delivering it.
Right, we have the portal, so
An
you
endless
set the
spell,
portal
yeah.
up. Yeah, the endless spell, and then you shoot the sand through the portal.
It's a touch.
into their eyes.
I like this idea, this image of a
Yeah.
mirror suddenly appearing, and then like this Nagash's hand coming to touch you through the portal, and you see Nagash over on the other side of the battlefield doing this, and he's like
What the
reaching
hell
in, and
is
you're
he
like,
doing over there? And I totally
And then you just
broke...
die.
Yeah.
You die.
Exactly.
So you
It
have
was
to first
so
you,
nice.
So first you have to get the portal off. And
Yeah.
then
It's
you
still work.
have to cast the spell itself, which is like a casting value of 9 or something. Like it's not easy to get.
It's
this.
8.
8. Okay.
But yeah.
You have to get the spell off. And then if all of that works, then your opponent has
Has
this
to pick the
50-50
right
chance to like, and they have to pick it. So
Yeah.
if they pick the
Yeah.
wrong one, it's on them, right? It's not. You mean
Right.
they're doing it to themselves.
Yeah,
like you
it's their
said.
choice. So I definitely broke the cardinal rule of like being a good sport, which is a shame because I always read being a good sport rules to Zach every time we get a new general's handbook because I was like jumping around and like screaming. I was so
I
excited.
think Shane is okay with that.
I knew he was okay with it because he was kicking my butt, so
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
matter. But that for me was the win.
Yeah,
like that moment was amazing. I loved it.
And this was actually your objective at the event.
Yes.
Was to Hand of Dust
To make Hand of Dust
at least
happen.
once.
Personal objective.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished on round 2.
So it did. This is Joe. I played Nurgle against with Joe. Sorry. Blech. And this was the mission where it was no reward without risk, right? Whatever.
You can
however
start.
that's phrased.
You can start.
And you
running.
don't. Yeah, you do not have to be 9 inches from the edge of your deployment zone. You really just have to be 3 inches from your opponent. And so I was like,
you don't even. No, you don't. You can start in engagement range in this mission.
Yeah, you can start.
oh, really?
in combat.
Okay.
Yeah, Brett and I've done it.
We didn't
before.
do that. We started. I set up first, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And then Joe set up 3 inches away, which didn't matter because it was Nurgle, and it just kept picking away at me and not dying, and it was awful.
Yeah.
But like, I had a really good time with Joe, and
He's
Joe
a nice
was the
guy.
one
He's
who was
funny.
like, "Hey, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but I'm having a really good game with you."
Yeah.
And I feel bad saying that because you're losing. And I was like, Joe, don't worry about
Yeah.
it. It's fine.
He's a really nice guy.
You're
yeah.
good.
Joe's great.
Yeah. And Nurgle were super cute. I got to see Sloppity Bile Piper,
Mm-hmm.
who I also hated, but he's super cute.
Yep.
Yeah, why did I have such a hard time here? I just don't have strong models. And
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
it's just easy. I tried to do the thing where I keep my army together, like it should be a brick, and like
You've also not played against many of these
I
armies before,
I
right?
had never played against Nurgle,
Yeah.
and it was just easy to pick them off, and I was like, nah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hang out. We got through 2 rounds though. This took so long
Yeah.
Oh wow.
to play. Yeah.
It's basically a death
It's a
army.
3-hour
Yeah.
and 15-minute 2-round game.
The games where it's like one army whose thing is being durable and not dying against another army whose thing is being durable and not dying are real
Slow.
slogs.
They're
Yeah.
slogs.
Yeah.
Next day.
This is day 2.
Day 2.
Got to play Paige.
Yep.
Paige with her Lumineth.
This is the worst possible matchup for you. And
even Paige
just,
said this.
it just-
like, you shouldn't be paired against
Nope,
me.
it's just
I'm
what
gonna
happened.
wipe you out. And I'm like, that's
Yep.
fine, Paige. Don't worry about it. I'm
Yep.
just here to have a good time and wear a cool costume.
Yep.
And Hand of Dust, your general.
I know. I wanted to so bad, but Paige was able to block a lot of magic.
Yep.
And so Zach tells me going in, like, oh, there's these little kangaroo things, and they're really wimpy. They're gonna shoot you, so stay away from them. But try to send your wolves after them and just murder them because they're like glass. It's a glass cannon army, and I was like, okay, I'll do that. And so I think it was turn 2 or 3. I go after them with my zombies. And I'm like, I'm going to get these things with my zombies that move 4 inches. And I get in there and Paige is like, okay, I'm leaving. During combat.
Well, you activate when they activate. They
Yeah.
So you would have had to go somewhere else first, right?
right.
And then, yeah.
So Paige
I guess I
ran
should have
away.
said only go into one unit of them at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to do anything, and I had that battle tactic where I was trying to bring back 6 zombies, and I rolled I couldn't bring back 6 zombies in my hero phase, so I was trying to get the rest. And then Paige ran away. And I was like,
this
that's
is
how that works. But I love these models.
They're
This
cool.
is an
Wind
army I
chargers.
want to paint
Yeah.
so badly.
The-
I'm adding it to the queue, so I'll get to it in 5 years.
The Wind Charger thing is very interesting. It's one of those armies that you probably, the second time you played it, you always would do significantly better.
Probably.
Because with wolves, you would just make something, have her leave 6 inches, and then wolves can pile in 6 inches and catch them.
I think
So you dealing with this army the first time is a nightmare.
Yeah, it kind of was, but
yeah.
I still had fun. It didn't ruin my
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
my round 2 against Matt, his Stormcast, he had 2 units of Stormcast dogs, and they do a
They do
similar
the same
thing.
thing, yeah.
But they get to fight before they run away. He activates.
They're not
them,
good at it, but they do
fight,
get to fight.
and then
yeah.
they run away.
That's annoying.
And yeah, a big part of why I lost the game is because he did some super clever tricks with those dogs.
Yeah.
But it's oh, now I get how
You
that
get a
works.
little bit better the second time.
Yeah.
Okay, last game for you,
Yeah.
Meg.
Okay. So this was Brian.
Yeah.
From our Big Lebowski team, and he was Jesus
Yeah.
when he dressed up. Yeah, it was really good. Okay, so this was against Korn, and again, I had never played Korn.
Yeah, they got some
And-
funky stuff.
I had a good time. I think I was pretty much basically theoretically tabled turn 2.
Okay.
But I did get to Hand of Dust his Bloodthirster, turn 1. And that was great. I was like, that Bloodthirster is awfully close. You're going to get Hand of Dusted. And then it did.
Yep.
I was so happy. But this was game 5. And by this game, I was like mush. My brain couldn't think. I was like constantly like forgetting little tiny things. And he's like, yeah, it's this. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm so sorry. And he's like, don't worry about it. We're here to have fun. Blah, blah, blah. I was ready to call it after he killed my general. I was like, is there anything I can really do here? He's like, let's just play it out. Let's have fun. He's just been so nice to me. And I'm like, okay. And then he finally like got Nagash down to 1 wound. And I was like, can we call it now? Poor guy. Like by this point I was like, Zach, can you please just pair me with somebody who will wipe me off the table? Because I'm freaking tired. I am done. But it was still a fun game. Yeah. Even though it was a little short. So I hope my opponents had a good time because I didn't want my very poor list to ruin anybody's
I think a lot of people probably were excited to play against Nagash.
They had a good time.
Yeah, for sure. Like so many people, because Nagash is like not a great in-game model. I'm sure a lot of people, were just excited to see like him on the table and see what he could do. And we were talking about this on the way home, like. The sort of anxiety of the Hand of Dust mechanic
so cool.
is super fun, even if you're having it done against you. Like it's just like it's gambling, you know. It's like stress, it's endorphins, it's
because like I of course I want them to pick the correct hand without a dice, but like even when they pick the right hand, it's still like very exciting. It's a very exhilarating moment.
And in every case, when your opponent got Hand of Dusted, they still won the game.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So like they're not going to be too upset.
Tom says, pro Nagash players, thank you once again, Tom. And thank you for the weekend. Pro Nagash players spend hours practicing raising a knuckle on the empty hand. I don't... What does that do? Is it lure the person?
Makes it look like there's a
die in there. I see. Yeah. And thank you, Soups, for the gifted membership. To Dennis, so much.
Nice. Welcome Dennis.
Yeah. Okay,
and Nick. Let's not forget Nick.
Nick, yeah.
Sheesh.
Nick says, Old Town Throwdown events are also big drinking events, so the theme was definitely on par to the event. I think I did read that one.
Did you?
Yeah. So, okay, we'll go through my games
again.
kind of quick. Thanks again, Nick. We'll go through my game kind of quick, my games here. This is my last round. We'll come back to that. Okay, I got to play the other Alex from Corsairs round 1.
Yep.
Alex was super young, as you might be able to tell from this picture. He was under 21. We started by offering him a cocktail.
Yep.
And then he's like, oh, I can't. I'm only 18. And I was like, oh, good for you.
Cool.
Nice
Zach's
kid.
committed a crime.
Yeah. I had
Tom, is there an age limit on Old Town Throwdown?
Yes.
Yeah, you need to change that so we can offer people drinks.
Now, I will say...
just kidding. We liked Alex.
Yeah, he was great. This was sort of funny because... I did not want Meg to go against 240 zombies and Ben. I was trying to go against 240 zombies and Ben. So I really wanted to have this not be Meg's matchup, the one she had. I wanted to do that one. At Nova, I only lost to 240 zombies by like 2 or 3 points. So I was like, all right, I can take another crack at this. I think I can get it. But then this Alex had no Myriad, which just cancels magic on a 2-up. I was like, that doesn't sound fun against Nagash. So when I got the opportunity to, I was like...
Doesn't sound fun against a Salon.
Against a Salon. I was like, fine, I'll take stupid no Myriad. My list has no magic at all. And so I got to play against this. Alex is a great player. Great kid. Very good player for his age. That's crazy for sure. And but I hate Bone Reapers. God, I hate playing Bone Reapers. It is so painful to play Bone Reapers. But he was super fun. He made it fun.
It's a shame Steven isn't here to defend his faction.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it was a super close game. It came down to a few crazy things. I will say this: since Tom is in the room, Tom. At Nova, you were like, "Why the heck do you have Metal Cruncher?" And I told you that my sub faction gets extra ones, extra mount traits, and each big monster in Boulder Head has one good mount trait. So mine is -1 to wound. And then I have to take a second one. And it's at the start of the round, something has a 3-up or better. They take D6 mortal wounds. Well, this Metal Cruncher totally punked Arkin. It totally murdered Arkin. So it finally came in handy.
There you go.
Yeah. I didn't bring it. I won a bone from Alex because
right.
Alex tithed the bone. And he said, if I win, I keep the bone. If you win, you get the bone. So I won, and I kept the bone, and I had him sign it for me.
That's
so I
have to add it to our wall.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I have this signed bone from young Alex. Super good player. I hope to not have to play him as he gets older because he's going to be scary. Speaking of scary, my second game was against Aaron Newbaum, who I've been wanting to play for a while. Aaron is an insanely strong player. I don't keep up on looking at people and what rank they are, but I just know at some point in the past year he was the number 7 ranked Sigmar player in the world. I was like, okay, this will be fun. I definitely lost this game bad. We got wrecked this round, but Aaron said that he was a little nervous at one point in the game, and I was like,
nervous.
Yes,
Yeah,
what a compliment.
yeah, I was excited. That was the best. This was my favorite game of this loss was my favorite game for that reason. It was cool to play Aaron and kind of see how things worked, and he gave me some good feedback after the game. Super cool guy. Would love to play him again. Hopefully at a future Old Town Throwdown. Yeah, super fun.
Nice.
Thanks, Jupiter, for the membership.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Jupiter.
Don't forget,
welcome, Madman.
Don't forget Nick's comment.
Oh, should we read Nick's super chat?
Yeah, let's
One more
read
time?
Nick's.
Yeah. Okay. Nick says Old Town Throwdown events are also big drinking events, so the theme was definitely on par to the event.
You're right.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Okay, so here's Sarah. Sarah is hilarious. I've wanted to play Sarah. She's really funny. She was also like us making cocktails.
Yes, she was amazing. She came around and gave out Mai Tais and Jello shots.
Jello shots.
Yeah.
And what did she give out towards
I think
the end? It was just
I don't remember that. I just had those two.
She was great. I was like, "You're the best, Sarah."
I gave her one of I poured her a sidecar because she had given me 2 Jello shots, and then when we started to play, I was like, Sarah, do you want another sidecar? She's like, no. And
everybody
she's
we gave a drink to was like, this is killing me. And I'm like, that's good. I need this.
I don't get it. I just follow international bartender.
Because everyone drinks watered down drinks at restaurants. Yeah, that's what people are used to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sarah had Stormcast. This is a horrible matchup for her. She was the person that got the horrible matchup this round. It was shooty Stormcast. I just run really fast and charge her, and that's it. Yeah. She can only unleash heck in one place. So
it's probably against her unit that can only be unleashed hecked on 6s.
On 6s, yeah. It's a rough matchup for her. She was a good sport about it, though. She's very excited for Ionis coming out. So I think that helped her get through it. The new Stormcast model on the horizon. This is Randy. Randy and I had a really great game. You'll notice that my Blood Pelt Hunter is often my MVP.
Yeah.
Not in this game, but in all my other games, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I have him held up even more forward in this game because this little idiot single-handedly sent most of Randy's Gloomspike kits on a wild goose chase for 3 turns.
Wow.
He kind of hunted him down. I put him on one side of the board by himself. He stole an objective and cost Randy 2 points right away. Then he broke magical dominance and cost Randy 2 more points. And then Randy did this thing where he's like, okay, I'm going to kill him for his battle tactic. And then didn't kill him because I had a 3-up ward. And Randy was like, I know you've got the 3-up ward, but I think I can get you in a different phase. And it just didn't go that way. This guy ruined Randy's life. Randy, I'm sorry. He is a huge jerk. He is a little hillbilly jerk.
Wait, are you talking about Randy? That's
no.
so rude.
Randy is
Poor Randy.
Randy is a hillbilly jerk. No,
now they're gonna clip that.
Oh no! Don't clip that.
Don't
clip it. They're just gonna clip that out of it. No.
Wait! Stop!
The Blood Pelt Hunter. Yeah, super obnoxious jerk. My last game was against Josh, and this was against Soulblight. And Josh and I had a really good game.
Poor Manfred.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
My boyfriend.
Now, just in case you do watch our hobby stream, last Wednesday we had a poll up about which Mortark was the best, and we left YouTube only lets you put 4, and there are 5 Mortarks, and I strongly believe that Manfred is so stupid that he shouldn't have even been an option, and therefore he wasn't. In this game, I have to say, I totally changed my mind on Manfred. He really impressed me.
Wait.
Just kidding. He tried to kill a Stonehorn, failed, and then two others. My Frostroid didn't even go near the situation. Just my random Stonehorns were like, all right, we're just going to kill you now, Manfred. And they totally murdered him in one turn. I think after you did a grand total of 2 damage to one of them. No, a little bit more than that.
Wow.
But he got absolutely annihilated. He was dead by turn 2.
How did Randy feel about this?
This is, well, Randy, from previous games.
Sorry.
Randy's a hillbilly jerk, so Randy was...
Just like crackhead Ken.
Yeah. Josh was pretty bummed.
How did Josh feel about
He had a little bit of bad... Okay, part of what makes me hate Be'lakor and now Manfred, in addition to their lore and their rules, is that I've seen versions of them with bad luck.
What else is there besides lore and rules?
Model.
Oh,
Be'lakor's model is super cool.
All right.
Yeah, he's super cool. Manfred's model not cool.
Manfred is super sexy.
He's
not.
What
you're talking
he
about.
is not, and you would not have thought so if you would have seen what these Stonehorns did to him. So he was out Manfred immediately, which I know is super lame, but it was still a close battle. Soulblight just things kept coming back, and I had to run all over the place. It feels like
it's tiring.
It feels like one of those
makes you hungry.
One of those little video games they have where you're running around, you gotta put out a fire. It's like one of those little phone games. That cooking game where you're running over. There's here's now some skeletons over here now, and
that's how it's supposed to be anyway.
But they were super great games. Josh was a super great opponent. It actually came down to only a few points. We all had super close games round 5, except for Meg. Four of us.
It's a good segue.
Yeah, four of us won our round 5 games.
Yeah.
Everybody but Meg.
By
I went
1
0
point.
and 5.
By a few points.
By 1 point, yeah.
The point total, they beat us for the round.
Yeah, our last round.
That's how badly I
Meg
did.
lost so poorly, and our games, and we won so poorly.
And the 4 of us that won were just by 1 or 2 points. Yeah.
That it was enough.
That we lost the round.
We lost the round with
I
4
did it.
wins.
With 4 wins and 1 loss, we lost the round.
You did it,
and
Meg.
as a result, we
did lose the entire tournament.
We won the golden spoon.
Therefore won these golden spoons.
We won golden
which
spoons.
We're pretty excited about. Yeah.
We came in last place.
I was so happy.
We came in last.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We actually no. Well, we didn't come in. This is the thing that I think is cool.
Well,
we actually didn't come in last place, and we won the golden spoons.
Oh
we beat the ringer team.
Okay, but why do you have to tell people that? We came in last.
Okay, we can't. Oh, I think we won golden
Look,
spoons.
if we're not gonna win,
one way or another, we won golden.
If we're
spoons.
not gonna win, we might as well lose really hard so we get to take something home.
Listen, we should
now we have these to put under. Zach and I can put it under his sword.
Yeah,
because he won. I don't know if you guys know this, but he won the Rocky Mountain Open.
Zach is very humble about this, and he doesn't tell a lot of people that he has a sword from winning the Rocky Mountain Open.
But I'm excited because in 1 year of competitive Sigmar, I won both a sword and a spoon.
And a spoon, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, actually.
And now we can take it off the wall and spank each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable now.
I bet.
At least you're not in the middle.
Yeah. There's a reason we did that. Now, real quick, before we just chat a little bit of the vibe of this event, super need to recommend this to anybody that plays Sigmar.
Please.
And I actually don't even just mean you play Sigmar and you're in the West Coast area. Like, if you want to travel for a Sigmar event, I think this is the event to go to. Like,
it's so fun. Me, I was like, I'm, at the end of this, I'm exhausted. I'm like, I can't do this again. I was on the verge of tears this morning. I was so tired. And then at the end of the day, I'm like talking about next year's theme. Like, okay, we got to do this for the theme. We have to kick the Corsairs' butts theme-wise because we're not going to do it game-wise.
No.
But
no, we're not.
Yeah, I guess we're doing it next year.
Hey, before we talk a little bit about this, and of course we may go over here. Before we talk a little bit about this, let's chat our MVPs and what we learned. I want to know, what did we learn? What when we reflect back on this, right? Because for you two, this is your first team event. This is your first Sigmar event.
At all event, yeah.
Brett, who's your MVP? What'd you learn?
So I brought my MVP today is
we have show and tell for this.
The lowly Saurus warrior.
You know what we can do is we can put him on a spoon.
Okay.
Oh.
And we can actually
carry him to the camera.
There he is. There he is. Look at that.
It's not blurry. It's blurry. It's not a
so
spoon not
sorry.
If you guys have heard me talk about sort of my preferences in wargaming, generally I like armies where the protagonists, the heroes, the ones who make the difference are the sort of normies, the like everyday. You know, I should play Eldar.
The people's man.
Yeah, so that I can play an army of blacksmiths and potters and
in 40K,
tailors. But anyway, I brought an army that was a lot of these 40 Saurus warriors that are all 2 wounds, -1 damage, 2 up save, 6 up ward, yada yada, and they did the work. Like there were some armies that I went up against that had the output to get through them, but with a little bit better play, I feel like I could have maybe mitigated that. So you're asking me questions about like how, you know, what could I have done different, and how do I feel about, you know, there are some things there that I could have done to sort of maybe play differently to play more to my strengths and mitigate my opponent's strengths. But these guys were great. I loved it. They sort of played the way I hoped they would, and I really enjoy that playstyle. It's very different from the, you know, Tau and 40K and you know, Scions, Imperial Guard, who are all kind of glass cannon-y as well. So playing an army that leans into durability,
just sits there. They're frustrating to get through.
And yeah, you know, I like the lore of it. It's fun. So yeah, I brought a little tiny 18-point Saurus warrior,
the humble Saurus warrior, but really, honestly, the like backbone of your army,
right? Exactly,
and the start, the hammer and the anvil, really.
Yes, exactly. Right. All right. How about you, Meg?
I mean, I think it goes without saying that my Nagash was my. Let's make sure everyone can see him.
I like
make it fall.
I like this.
You.
I like where
in
this
a hand of dust, you. Brett. Yeah, I mean, it was Nagash, and he's the reason why I made this terrible list, and I stand by it. What did I learn? I learned that I needed to spend more time thinking about how my army could behave better as like a giant unit centered around Nagash. I really didn't. I was just like, I like this and I like this and I like this, and I'm going to make it work, and I'm not going to research my grand strat, and I should have spent more time like thinking how I could make this work for me better. I don't think I could have. Well, I really didn't want to bring skeletons because I don't like skeletons. Like, I don't like their little models, and I don't like how spindly they are, and bleh. Yeah. So I don't know if I would have changed my list, but I think I could have at least changed my grand strategy to have a better time. I don't know. Like, next year I plan on honestly doing the same thing. I want to take an army of stuff that I find cool, like cool looking, and so we may want to have 2 hobby collab teams, one that's like good and trying hard, and the other ones that are just there to play with their fun models that don't do so hot on the battlefield. That's what I should do, is take him and like Kritska and Annika. Yeah. Like all the things that don't do a whole lot, and just make a mess. Next year I want to do Seraphon.
There's a difference between bringing models that are like intentionally bad and bringing models that you like the look of that may or may not be good.
I'm not trying to like be a loser necessarily, but like I painted those models and I've never played with them because they're not very good, and it's kind of like, well, what do I care? Like, I should just bring them anyway.
Just do it.
Yeah. So that was my approach this time, and I got a spoon out of it.
My point is that you're not intentionally going through the book, picking out the worst things and building an army of those.
Trying to do that.
And look, the Verkskier is kind of cool. He's kind of good.
He was okay. He's like when we practiced, I murdered like your general or something, like one of your like important little things. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I can. I'll be okay. I mean, I wasn't, but I liked the way I painted it, and I wanted it there, and I got a lot of compliments on my painting, so I was like, cool, I'm good.
Everyone's excited to see the gosh.
And you hand dusted twice.
I hand dusted twice. I got to try 3 times, so I was pretty happy. Yeah.
By the end of the event, you had no more sand in your pocket.
Yeah.
You'd thrown it all at people.
Mm-hmm. It was in their eyes.
For sure, mine was the hillbilly.
Randy? Is that you?
Yeah, Randy? No.
Wait.
For sure, mine is my Bloodpelt Hunter. He was such a nuisance all game long. I could not. I mean, like, it's actually hard to go through and say, oh, this unit was responsible for this many victory points. This was responsible for this many victory points. But he is uniquely, you're able to kind of look and go, oh yeah, he got me like 6 victory points this game, in a game I won by 4 or whatever. So he's crazy useful. As far as for what I learned, I definitely learned. I was telling some of the SoCal guys, I was like, I really just want to like take a week off from the channel, which is impossible, and go down to SoCal by myself and just like couch surf and like play like play Aaron, play Matt, just like play a bunch of people, get some practice against the SoCal crowd, because there's some tough players down there.
Yeah, but they're all really cool,
and they're all so fun to play.
Super fun guys.
And girls,
and they're all very helpful. None of them would not want to play a practice game, and none of them would not want to say like help, like point some stuff out. So it was super fun. Overall takes, what'd you guys think?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was very tired, and I'll probably be cranky again next year, but I'm definitely doing teams again. And we already know our theme, but we're not going to tell you guys.
Yeah.
We did not win the theme award. Who it was
Corsairs.
Corsairs, of course, yeah. And then there was a wrestler team
with their cowboys.
Second.
Yeah. They had the Cowboys had, like we said, shots as a bandolier. They had cap guns. They had wanted posters. They had music.
Yes.
It was very very well.
They were really on top. Oh, and they had like pop guns.
Yeah.
They were just like a big rowdy nuisance, and like how could they not win?
They wouldn't. I think that they set the level high. If people can think about that, I think that if this event could get more and more insane a few years from now, it could require some serious permitting. Permits that Tom will have to require.
Like
because some of the things...
people's IDs, maybe?
Or like IDs, fireworks permits.
What? Yeah.
Just like waivers. Some serious waivers could be required.
Don't give away our theme.
Yeah, no. So there we are with our
What was your takeaway? What was your takeaway?
My takeaway,
yeah, Zach, what was your takeaway?
I've been this is my fourth Old Town Throwdown event, and I've been having a blast. These are two, like, I probably will go to every Old Town Throwdown event that I could. It's also really fired me up. We've been talking about wanting to do some kind of Sigmar event up here.
Right.
I don't know if that's in the cards for 2024.
Can we out Sigmar Tom?
Maybe not, but at least we can have a version of something cool.
It's not a competition, Meg.
Everything's a competition with these people.
Yeah, we can have a version of something wild and fun like this up in the Bay Area.
A couple of folks asked me if we had, a good Sigmar or a big event or a big sort of, showcase event for Sigmar in the Bay Area. We don't really.
Not yet. No. It's really a 40K crowd for now.
Yeah, for now.
And then last but not least, we've got this picture. Tom dressed as a frog.
Aww.
In one of these lawn suits.
Yeah, it's inflatable.
Yeah, and there he is with Meg.
It was so adorable when he was giving out the awards at the end in this horrible costume.
Yeah.
And he's so grumpy, and he's like, the face. It's like covering his face. Yeah, I was like, I need to get a picture with this guy. Tom, we had such a good time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for hosting as always.
You put up with us bozos.
Yeah.
Tom had 2 CP on his data sheet and a board-wide dispel and
he's
on the cast.
Yeah.
He's a salon, He's just missing his chair is all.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
Oh, I have my takeaway from the event.
I thought. Did I miss?
No,
don't forget Nick's comment.
And we got to get Nick's
welcome
super chat.
Richard Munoz to Lab Rat.
Yes, thank you.
Glad to have you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed this.
I've only ever been to competitive 40K events before, and like Old Town Throwdown is a competitive event. Mm-hmm. There's these costumes and there's this drinking culture and there's like this super chill vibe, but like people are there to play competitive Sigmar. And I was surprised by how super well painted the armies were, and B, how chill and helpful and easygoing all the players were. For better or worse, if you go to a competitive 40K event, you'll oftentimes see unpainted armies or like 3 rattle can spray and like no basing, and there was none of that. There was a range of painting skills on display, but like everyone had very clearly tried hard and put lots of work in their armies, and there was none of this like, oh, this unit just got a data slate, and they were amazing, I'm gonna go like grab three of them from the store and like put them together the night before and like rattle can them and bring them to this thing. Like it's a competitive event, so people were trying hard, but like all aspects of the hobby and the community were on display, and I was not expecting that. I was expecting to see super gamery types and again, like that's not bad, like this is a competitive event, I was kind of expecting it, but I was just like surprised and impressed how sort of diverse and well represented all the different sort of elements of the hobby were, which is cool.
Yeah.
Super 2 thumbs up.
Nick Garcia echoes some of your thoughts here. Says Old Town Throwdown events are also big drinking events, so the theme was definitely on par to the event.
I agree. That's a great point.
Great point, Nick Garcia.
Thanks for sneaking that in.
Thanks for sneaking that super chat in.
That point at the last minute.
And I guess we should also say, I do want to say this. I do want to do that thing where I have to do a disclaimer and say, I actually don't feel like they're, because when you say drinking culture and drinking events, it sounds like FSU in the 90s or something. It's not like a college university gone crazy.
Someone did throw up.
Someone threw up. There was some
in their own shirt.
Yeah, that happened. But outside of that, everyone,
I was like,
again, everyone's very nice.
It's
not. It doesn't get rowdy in the wrong kind of way. It's very nice and fun. It's worth pointing that out.
Thank you for the hearts.
Any other closing thoughts?
Thank you, Tom, for putting on a great event. Thanks to all of our opponents for giving us great games.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Nick, for the super chat.
Yeah,
which
the only super chat
I think we got. And Randy is a hillbilly, as it turns out, and there's no way I'm getting around that. So, with that, I think we'll say bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye.